If you're managing diabetes, you know that food choices are front and center every single day. You've probably heard it a million times. Eat your vegetables. And it's true, veggies are loaded with good stuff. But here's a curveball. Not all vegetables are created equal when it comes to blood sugar. It might seem surprising, but some common, seemingly healthy vegetables can actually send your glucose levels on a roller coaster ride. They pack more carbs or hit your system faster than you'd expect. Let's dive into 5 specific veggies that diabetics should keep a closer eye on so you can make informed choices and keep your blood sugar steady. Number 1, potatoes, the ultimate starch trap. When we think of starchy sides, potatoes often top the list, and for good reason. For individuals managing diabetes, potatoes in nearly all their forms can pose a significant challenge to blood sugar control. They are notorious for their high carbohydrate content and, critically, their high glycemic index, GI. The GI scale measures how quickly a carbohydrate-containing food raises blood glucose levels. Foods with a high GI are digested and absorbed rapidly, leading to sharp increases in blood sugar. White potatoes, particularly when baked or mashed, often rank very high on this scale. Consider this startling comparison. A medium-baked potato can sometimes raise blood sugar levels faster and higher than a sugar-glazed donut, or even a can of soda for some individuals. This is because the type of starch in potatoes is readily broken down by the body into glucose, flooding the bloodstream quickly. While sweet potatoes are often touted as a healthier alternative and do offer more nutrients like vitamin A and fiber compared to white potatoes, they too are high in carbohydrates and have a moderate to high GI, meaning they still require careful portioning and consideration. The way a potato is prepared significantly influences its impact. Boiled potatoes generally have a slightly lower GI than baked or mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes, especially instant varieties or those made very smooth, have a larger surface area for digestive enzymes to act upon, speeding up sugar release. French fries, while delicious, add unhealthy fats to the high carb load and often have a variable GI depending on cooking time and type. Interestingly, cooking potatoes and then cooling them, like in a potato salad, can increase their resistant starch content. Resistant starch acts more like fiber, slowing digestion and potentially lessening the blood sugar spike. However, even cooled potatoes remain a significant source of carbohydrates. Portion control is paramount. Even a small serving can deliver a substantial carb hit. Instead of making potatoes the star of your plate, consider lower GI, non-starchy alternatives like cauliflower rice or mash, roasted radishes, which develop a potato-like texture, zucchini noodles, steamed green beans, or a generous helping of leafy greens to fill your plate without sending your blood sugar soaring. Number 2, corn, the deceptive grain. Corn, often enjoyed fresh off the cob, canned, frozen, or ground into cornmeal for polenta or tortillas, holds a tricky position in a diabetic diet. While technically a vegetable, and a whole grain when the kernel is intact, its nutritional profile leans heavily towards the starchy side, making it act more like a grain in terms of its carbohydrate content and impact on blood sugar. Corn possesses a moderate to high glycemic index and is packed with carbohydrates, primarily starch, which converts quickly to glucose upon digestion. The sweetness of fresh corn can be deceiving, masking its significant carbohydrate load. Just half a cup of corn kernels contains roughly 15-21 grams of carbohydrates, depending on the variety and preparation. This might not sound like much, but for someone carefully counting carbs to manage blood sugar, it adds up quickly, especially since corn is often served as a side dish alongside other carbohydrate sources. Whether you're enjoying corn on the cob at a barbecue, adding canned corn to a salad, or having a side of creamy polenta, the effect on blood glucose can be substantial and swift if portions aren't carefully managed. Products derived from corn, like corn syrup, a frequent additive in processed foods, cornstarch, used as a thickener, and even popcorn, though high in fiber, still carb-dense, also need careful consideration. When choosing corn, portion size is absolutely critical. Sticking to a small serving, like half a cup, and pairing it with lean protein and healthy fats can help mitigate the blood sugar spike. However, for more predictable blood sugar control, swapping corn for lower carb, non-starchy vegetables is often a safer strategy. Think about substituting corn in recipes with diced bell peppers, chopped broccoli, steamed asparagus, sautéed mushrooms, or green beans. These options provide volume, nutrients, and fiber without the significant carbohydrate impact, allowing for greater dietary flexibility and easier blood sugar management. Number 3, peas, the starchy legume. Green peas often get a health halo. They are legumes, offering plant-based protein, a good dose of fiber, and various vitamins and minerals. However, compared to their non-starchy green vegetable counterparts, peas pack a surprisingly hefty carbohydrate punch. While beneficial nutrients are present, their starchy nature means they can significantly impact blood sugar levels if consumed without careful consideration, particularly regarding portion size. A single cup of cooked green peas contains around 20-25 grams of carbohydrates, a considerable amount that primarily comes from starch and natural sugars. This carbohydrate content places peas higher on the glycemic spectrum than many other green vegetables like spinach, broccoli, or zucchini. While their fiber content does help to slow down sugar absorption compared to, say, white bread, the sheer amount of carbohydrate means that a large serving of peas can still lead to a noticeable rise in blood glucose levels. For individuals aiming for tight blood sugar control, this makes peas a vegetable that requires moderation. It's not that they are inherently bad, but their effect is more pronounced than one might initially assume based on their green appearance. Think about how peas are often incorporated into meals, frequently alongside other starches like rice, pasta, or potatoes, in dishes like shepherd's pie, pasta salads, or fried rice. This combination can create a very high carbohydrate load, making blood sugar management even more challenging. If you enjoy peas, the key is mindful portioning. Treating them more like a starch than a free vegetable is wise. Measure your serving, aiming for perhaps half a cup, and be aware of the other carbohydrates on your plate. Excellent lower carbohydrate alternatives that provide similar nutrients and a green presence include green beans, string beans, edamame in moderation as it also contains carbs, chopped asparagus, sautéed spinach, kale, or finely diced zucchini. These options offer versatility in meals without contributing as significantly to your total carbohydrate intake. Number 4, beets, the sugar-loaded root. Beets, with their vibrant color and earthy sweetness, are often celebrated for their health benefits, including nitrates that may help with blood pressure and antioxidants. However, for those managing diabetes, this root vegetable comes with a caveat: its naturally high sugar content and moderate glycemic index. While whole beets contain fiber, which helps slow sugar absorption compared to pure sugar, the inherent sugars can still contribute to a significant blood sugar rise, especially when consumed in larger quantities. The glycemic index of boiled beetroot falls into the medium range, meaning it raises blood sugar more moderately than high GI foods like potatoes, but significantly more than low GI vegetables like leafy greens or broccoli. The main concern arises from portion sizes and preparation methods. Eating a small amount of roasted or boiled beets as part of a balanced meal might be manageable for some. However, consuming large servings, or worse, drinking beet juice, can deliver a concentrated dose of sugar straight into the bloodstream, leading to a rapid spike. Juicing removes most of the beneficial fiber, leaving behind primarily sugar and water, making it particularly problematic for blood sugar control. While beets offer valuable nutrients, individuals with diabetes need to be mindful. If incorporating beets into the diet, stick to small portions, perhaps half a cup cooked. Pair them with protein and healthy fats to buffer the sugar release, and avoid beet juice altogether. Monitor your blood sugar levels after eating beets to understand your personal tolerance. For dishes where beets might typically feature, consider lower sugar, lower GI alternatives. Swap roasted beets in salads for roasted radishes or bell peppers. Instead of beet soup, opt for a tomato or mushroom-based soup. For adding color and nutrients without the sugar load, focus on vegetables like kale, Swiss chard, spinach, lettuce, cucumber, or eggplant, which offer versatility and bulk with minimal impact on glucose levels. Number 5. Parsnips, the hidden high GI vegetable. Parsnips, the pale, carrot-shaped root vegetable with a distinctively sweet, nutty flavor, often fly under the radar when discussing high-carb vegetables. While perhaps less common on the dinner table than potatoes or corn, parsnips pack a significant glycemic punch that diabetics should be aware of. They are relatively high in carbohydrates and possess a surprisingly high glycemic index, often higher than carrots and even rivaling some preparations of potatoes. Cooked parsnips have a GI that can soar into the high category, meaning they are rapidly digested and can cause a sharp increase in blood glucose levels shortly after eating. Their natural sweetness comes from sugars, and their structure contains starches that break down easily during digestion. While they do provide some fiber and nutrients like vitamin C and folate, their impact on blood sugar often outweighs these benefits for those needing tight glucose control. People might mistakenly group them with carrots, assuming a similar, more moderate glycemic impact. However, parsnips generally contain more starch and have a higher GI than carrots, making them a less suitable choice, especially in large quantities. Like other starchy vegetables, preparation matters, but even boiled or roasted parsnips can significantly affect blood sugar. Using them sparingly as a flavor component rather than a main side dish is advisable. If you enjoy the taste or texture, strict portion control is essential. Consider mixing a small amount of parsnip with other lower GI root vegetables or non-starchy options. Better yet, explore alternatives. Carrots, while still containing carbohydrates and natural sugars, generally have a lower GI than parsnips and can be used in moderation. For roasting or mashing, consider turnips, rutabaga, swede, or celeriac, celery root, which tend to have lower carb counts and a gentler effect on blood sugar. Non-root options like roasted cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, or bell peppers also provide satisfying textures and flavors without the high glycemic load of parsnips. Managing high GI vegetables. Practical tips for diabetics. Learning that some common vegetables can significantly spike blood sugar might feel disheartening, but it doesn't mean your diet needs to become bland or overly restrictive. Knowledge is power, and understanding how to manage higher glycemic vegetables allows for greater flexibility and control. The primary strategy is strict portion control. Instead of a large serving of potatoes, corn, or peas, limit yourself to a small portion, perhaps half a cup or less, depending on your individual carbohydrate goals and blood sugar response. Measuring your food initially can help you visualize appropriate serving sizes. Another powerful technique is pairing. Never eat high GI vegetables in isolation. Always combine them with sources of lean protein, like chicken, fish, tofu, or lean beef, healthy fats, such as avocado, nuts, seeds, or olive oil, and additional fiber from low GI, non-starchy vegetables, leafy greens, broccoli, bell peppers, etc. Protein, fat, and fiber slow down digestion and the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream, resulting in a gentler, more gradual rise in blood glucose, rather than a sharp spike. Cooking methods can also make a difference. As mentioned with potatoes, boiling tends to result in a lower GI than baking or mashing. Cooling starchy vegetables like potatoes or pasta after cooking can increase resistant starch, which is beneficial for blood sugar. However, the most effective approach is often to prioritize low GI vegetables. Make leafy greens, spinach, kale, lettuce, cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, zucchini, cucumbers, and bell peppers the foundation of your vegetable intake. These are packed with nutrients and fiber, but have minimal impact on blood sugar, allowing you to eat larger, more satisfying portions. Crucially, Remember that diabetes management is highly individual. How your body responds to specific foods can vary. Monitoring your blood sugar levels before and after eating these higher GI vegetables, about 1-2 hours post-meal, is the best way to understand their personal impact. Always consult with your healthcare provider, a registered dietitian, or a certified diabetes care and education specialist. They can help you develop a personalized meal plan that considers your specific health needs, medication, activity level, and dietary preferences, ensuring you can enjoy a varied diet while effectively managing your blood sugar. Smart choices for blood sugar control. Navigating a diabetes-friendly diet involves more than just avoiding sweets and sugary drinks. It requires a deeper understanding of how all foods, including vegetables, affect blood sugar. While potatoes, corn, peas, beets, and parsnips offer nutrients, their higher carbohydrate content and moderate to high glycemic index mean they can rapidly increase blood glucose levels, posing a challenge for effective diabetes management. Recognizing these deadly potentials, deadly not in the sense of being poisonous, but in their capacity to derail blood sugar control, is the first step towards making smarter choices. This doesn't necessarily mean completely banning these vegetables from your diet forever, although minimizing them is often wise. Instead, it highlights the critical importance of awareness, portion control, mindful preparation, and strategic pairing with protein, fats, and fiber. By understanding the glycemic impact of different vegetables and prioritizing lower GI, non-starchy options like leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables, you empower yourself to build balanced, satisfying meals that support stable blood sugar levels. Ultimately, making informed, conscious decisions about what you eat is a cornerstone of successful diabetes management, contributing not only to better glucose control, but also to your overall health and well-being. Stay informed, stay mindful, and take control of your plate for a healthier future. Was this information helpful for understanding how certain vegetables impact blood sugar? If you found value in this discussion, please consider sharing it with others who might benefit. Do you have questions about managing these vegetables or experiences you'd like to share? Leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you.